Hello dear students, I am here with another topic of General Foundation course. In our earlier video we have studied about the enterprises and its types. So in this video we are going to study about how to select an activity for self-employment. Whenever any person decides to start his own employment, he has to think about that what product he is going to launch. So when you plan to set up an enterprise, you have to think about the product you have to produce. You have to think about the product you have to produce, means which product you are going to launch in the market. You have to decide about that. When you decide about the product, say nut bolts, steel almirah, chairs and steel tables, etc., or maybe anything. When you decide about the product, when you think about producing these products, what you have to do? Micro, small, medium size enterprises, development institution, MS-MEDI, MS-MEDI and district industrial centers, DIC, can provide you expert guidance for identification of a suitable activity. When you thought of producing a particular product, then these two organizations will help you to provide the expert guidance. So you got it? In order to get the expert guidance, you have to visit these two organizations. So if the question comes in your exam that what is the full form of MS-MEDI and DIC, then you can easily write. A preliminary market study of product service needs to be undertaken to analyze consumption and availability pattern about the product. So for producing a product, you have to study lot many things, like you have to study the market. What you have to study in the market? About the consumption and availability pattern. If the product is if you are going to start a product, will it be consumed properly? Will there be any demand? So you have to discuss so many things before launching a product. If there is a gap in demand and supply, so there is a gap, means demand and supply, means demand is more and supply is less, the activity considered idle for selection. In that case, where there is a high demand for any particular product and supply is less, then you can select that product, because after producing that product, your product will be sold out. This kind of information is available with MS-MEDI and DIC. So this type of particular what we can say, the particular knowledge about these things, like what is the gap between demand and supply of a particular product, is available with MS-MEDI and DIC. Next is assessment of market potential. So what is market potential? Market potential is the aggregate demand about the product. What is the aggregate demand? What is the total demand about the product? That is called market potential. So we have to assess it. In order to start any product, we have to assess the market and the market potential. The prospective entrepreneur can estimate local demand within the state or country. Prospective entrepreneur, the entrepreneur or the businessman who is going to launch his new product, he can estimate the local demand where he is living, near to the area, demand within the state, in state which state he is living, or the country. So he has to estimate all these things. Meetings with wholesalers and retailers can provide necessary inputs regarding market potential. So what he can do apart from this thing, he can do the meetings with wholesalers and retailers. Wholesalers and retailers will also provide him the necessary information which is required for selecting a particular product. MS-MEDIs and DIC can also provide information regarding market potential. So as I have earlier told you that MS-MEDI and DIC have all the knowledge about the market, about the demand. So they can also guide the entrepreneur about the market potential. After taking decision about product or service, the next step is, so what is the next step? Once you have decided that which product you are going to launch, then the next step is, where can the enterprise be set up? So where you have to set up the enterprise, which area it would be, you have to decide about that. The enterprise can be set up in a designated industrial area where infrastructure facilities are available and near to the market identified. So once the market is identified, then you have to see that where infrastructure facilities are available. So in that area, in that particular designated area, entrepreneur can start his launching of the product. Special industrial zones are established by the government to promote industry. So there are some special industrial zones that are established, that government provides those areas that the entrepreneur can start their factories, their organization to those particular areas. Inputs required for setting up an enterprise. What are the inputs that are required to start up a new business? First is land and building. Second is machinery. And the other is raw materials, power and water, skilled manpower and capital. So these things are explained here further. The first thing that is required is land and building. Land is always required because on that land we have to establish our factory. After deciding about the product, the prospective entrepreneur has to decide about requirement of the land. He needs sufficient land for his enterprise. Then the design of building has to be decided. DIC can provide guidance in this matter. So after selecting the area, the land is to be decided by the entrepreneur, that what should be the area of the land, what about the requirement of the land, how many acres of land he needs. He has to decide about the area. So he needs sufficient land for his enterprise because he has to establish his factory. So he needs sufficient land, enough land. This is then the design of building has to be decided. After selecting the land, after purchasing the land, or after getting the land on lease, he can select the design of the building on about the building so that he can make his factory. DIC can provide guidance in this matter. So all the guidance the entrepreneur can get from the DIC. Another thing that he needs is machinery. To manufacture a product, necessary machines are required, as everybody knows that in order to produce a product we need machinery. The prospective entrepreneur has to plan about these machines. So after purchasing the land, after deciding about the land, the another thing that the manufacturer have to do is to purchase the machinery. What type of machinery he is going to set up in his organization. The prospective entrepreneur has to plan about these machines. Keeping in view the production capacity, machines are installed. So what should be the production capacity? Keeping in mind that thing, machines are installed. Raw materials. Next point is raw material. To prepare a product, necessary raw materials are required. Entrepreneur has to decide about the raw materials, where these will be available of good quality and at reasonable price also. So after setting up for the land, for machinery, he has to think about the raw material, that from where he can purchase the raw material and from which supplier he has to purchase these raw material, so that he can get a raw material of good quantity, good quality at a reasonable price also. So he has to keep all these things in mind before starting his business. So next thing what he requires is power and water. Power and water are the essential inputs in the manufacturing process. So these two things are very important, because with power the machines will operate only with the help of power, and water is also necessary in the organization. So prospective entrepreneur should make arrangement of uninterrupted supply. Means there should be uninterrupted supply of power. The power cut should not be there, and uninterrupted supply of power as well as water. Both these things should be available in the organization. Next is skilled manpower. To manufacture the product, skilled and efficient manpower is required. So what we need, another thing for this manufacturing product, skilled and efficient manpower. So the entrepreneur has to plan about the manpower. He has to hire these person. So in order to hire these person, he has to start the process of recruitment. This thing we will study further in this book. Next thing what he require is capital. This is the most important thing, because without capital we can't run any business. To run an enterprise, capital is main requirement. The entrepreneur has to arrange sufficient amount of capital to run the enterprise. So This is the first thing that we require, capital. So in this topic we have studied about how to select a product, and what is the first step after selecting a product. Like we have to establish our organization, we need land, machinery, raw material, etc., all these things. So I hope you understand this topic, and in next topic we are going to study about the financial assistance that is required, because we need capital for the business, and in order to raise the funds, in order to get the capital, we need financial assistance. So this topic we will discuss in another video. Thank you so much.